Keyshawn, for you, after you coming here because you want to get this team to the tournament, what did it feel like for you to see the Ohio State pop up and know that you made it?
It was a great feeling. That was the whole reason why I chose to be a Buckeye. The belief I had in the guys, CJ, and Coach Holtmann and staff. So it was a great feeling, especially to see our name pop up there and when it did.
CJ, you've taken so much of the leadership on this team and in a lot of ways carried this team as far as you could carry it. How did it feel for you to know that you got this team in the NCAA tournament?
Kind of how Keyshawn said, we all season long we've been leaning on each other just throughout the struggles. Obviously this year had its ups and downs, and just to see our name pop up there was a bit of a sigh of relief, but we're excited for the new opportunity.
Did you guys have a viewing party for the Big Ten championship game, out of curiosity? Did you watch it together?
No.
Michigan State, you didn't watch it together. Did you have a viewing party for the Selection Sunday show?
Yeah, we was just together, all together, coaches, families, the team. We was together.
What was the reaction like among that group?
We was just happy, We were just really, really happy that our name came across the screen, and we had a great moment as a family, as a Buckeye family.
And since you probably would have seen him, how's Justin doing since his brother was injured today?
His spirits are up. He not down. He feel like his brother's gonna be okay, and I'm pretty sure he's talking to his family now. Trying to figure everything out. But they said everything's okay with his brother. So.
CJ, this is another season now, 2 in a row, where not many people gave you guys a lot of chance of going to the NCAA tournament in the preseason. Did you guys feel, how confident were you all along that you guys could get there and accomplish what you did this year?
Yeah, we knew coming into this year that, a lot of people were just going to count us out, just for different reasons. And good thing that this team didn't really let that affect us. We did what we had to do throughout the season to put ourselves in position to, make the NCAA tournament. So at the end of the day, especially with a young team, that's all you can ask for.
What is, with that young team and what you guys accomplished, what does this say about, I don't know, Chris Holtmann, Ohio State, whatever, the program that you guys have done this now 2 years in a row to get things back where you kind of expect it to be?
Yeah, just like you said, I think that just shows that Ohio State is back, and it doesn't look like it's slowing down anytime soon. Just the fact of how Coach Holt runs things and how he's changed the culture so fast.
Guys, obviously this isn't the end. You've got Iowa State coming up and hopefully want to make a, bigger run. But given everything you guys have been through this last 2-3 months, does this make it feel, does this make this season feel like it has been a success given everything that you guys have gone through? Even if you were to not win another game.
I don't think that's our goal, was just to make the tournament. We're not just here just to play one game in the tournament. We're here to actually win some games and make a run, like you said. So not winning any more games up to this point is not kind of our approach, and not what we're thinking. We're thinking at this point each team in the tournament is 0-0, and everyone has the same amount of chance to win, and we want to take full advantage of that.
Do you guys have any, I don't know how much you guys watched that 2013 tournament run for this team, but I don't know, do you guys have any memories of that 2013 game between Ohio State and Iowa State? Aaron Kraft had that 3 at all. Do you guys remember that game at all?
No, not too much. I saw highlights of it, and obviously the shot that Kraft made, but not too much memories from that.
I'll ask you guys, they played Kansas last night. It was on ESPN, wasn't on one of the, you'd have to switch over to it while some of the other games are going on. Did either of you sit there and watch? I mean, you wouldn't have known you were going to play them, but have you seen Iowa State play? Did you watch that game in particular?
I'm going to be honest. After we lost, I ain't watched basketball. I took a little break. I've seen them play this year. Like, I know they're a really good offensive team, but I didn't watch that game in particular.
Did you check it out at all?
No, with Keyshawn, I haven't seen too much basketball since the Michigan State game. So, I wasn't. I knew they won the game and they won their conference, but I didn't watch the game.
Well, when you look at their record and see that they beat 6 ranked teams this year and just beat Kansas on Saturday, I mean, beat them in the regular season, beat some other pretty good teams, Texas Tech. Just what's your overall first impression? What you know you're playing a quality team, obviously.
Yeah, we know that they're a really good team. I mean, like you said, they beat Kansas last night, and they also done beat a lot of ranked teams. But at the end of the day, we still gonna bring our best effort, and we ready to compete against anybody in the country, and we're gonna bring that on Friday.
Keyshawn, why'd you take a little break from watching basketball?
I don't know. I just didn't want to think about if we were going to get in, if we wasn't going to be in. Like, I just, my approach was come here, find out if we in, and prepare from there. Like, I didn't want to think about all the possibilities of this team winning, this team losing, this. I didn't want to do all those factors. We in now, and I'm happy, and I'm just ready to play.
For both you guys, how did you pass the last 2 days, and how tough was it to maybe not be dialed in with every single result and wondering how that was going to affect you?
Rest and recovery, to be honest. I watched the past 2 games that we played Indiana and Michigan State FinMars, but everything was about getting ready for this postseason play, so just taking care of my body and recovery.
Yeah, pretty much same. Just being able to recover and playing back-to-back days is always tough, especially with the way the Big Ten is this year, just so physical and the long grind and the 20 games this year. So being able to just rest a couple of days was good.
Keyshawn, what was the mood of the room when you guys are all in there watching that show together and you see each region come by? Was there a nervous energy? Was there excitement? How would you describe that?
I was nervous. I'm pretty sure everybody else was nervous because, you seeing all these teams get selected and you hear the possibilities of where you're supposed to be placed, but then when, your name don't come across, then you get worried. Then you get down to, it's 2 more regions left, and you don't know, and then you come across, and we in the Midwest region, it just took a major shift in the room, and everybody just was cheering, happy, hugging each other. That's what it's about. You just want to see everybody happy, see everybody smiling. Hopefully our fans and Buckeye Nation is just excited as we are.
There were a couple moments earlier in the show that you thought that you'd come up, and then it just didn't happen right away?
I mean, it was a few times I thought, okay, well, that's us right there, or I anticipated, and then it just wasn't us.
And then for you, you said that you came to Ohio State, and this was your ultimate goal, and for a while it seemed like you guys were rolling, and then at the end of the year you guys struggled a little, and then you played such a big role in the Indiana game. For you to propel the team down the stretch, what was that like in the past week?
I mean, like CJ said earlier, this season has been a grind. It's been very up and down for all of us, and I feel like as a team we handled it the best we could with all the adversity that we hit. But this past week or so, just having the support of my teammates and, them being on me all season about being aggressive or, just be you. I mean, I think that just really showed in those past 2 games with Indiana and Michigan State. And I'm just excited. I get another opportunity to help lead this team to another win.
For either of you, have either of you ever been to Tulsa, Oklahoma?
No.
Nope.
What do you guys know about Iowa State, if anything at all? And is it, an interesting couple of days when you're waiting to see who you're going to play because you don't even necessarily have an idea, at least with the Big Ten tournament. It's between 2 teams now. You really don't know until you see that name pop up on the screen.
We just know they're a good offensive team. Like Keyshawn said, we were able to just watching basketball throughout the year, you see them play a couple times on TV, but you don't really pay too much attention to it because you don't really think that you'll come across them. Now we know they beat a couple good teams like Kansas. They had a really good run in the Big 12 tournament. So, but I mean, at this point, you get matched up with anybody. Everyone's good at this point. All 68 teams are good. So if you don't bring your A game, no matter who you are or who you play, you won't win.
CJ, how does this feel or compare to what you felt last year when you guys got selected? Because obviously, both seasons, you guys weren't expected to do a whole lot. Last year, you get a 5 seed. This year, you get an 11 seed. But how did this season feel when you saw your name compared to how it felt last year?
This year was a little different because last year we pretty much knew we were in, and so just waiting for playing the waiting game. some people saying we're in, some people saying we're not. We just didn't know. And once we finally got selected, it was just, it's a little different too because it's my last year, it's his last year, so it means a little bit more to be selected in the tournament.
You guys both said you did a lot of rest and recovery and watching your own film, but otherwise, just emotionally, what were the last 2 days like of trying to, I'm sure, pass the time and not think about it too much? Did you pick up any new hobbies or do anything different to help you try to get through 2 days of not knowing?
Same old. I mean, I went to see a movie, but other than that, it's same old. Just relaxing. Captain Marvel. I was good. It was good. Huh? Yeah.
Kind of on that note, rest and recovery for like us means a bowl of ice cream and not moving from the couch for a couple days. What does rest and recovery mean in a little more specific detail? I'm imagining foam rollers and cold tubs and what kind of stuff do you do when you have to turn things around and get ready?
Like you say, cold tub, you come in, do your, whatever Deets have us doing for whatever body part is hurting, or what you need to get ready, prepared for Friday. So, and I mean, that's what we would do for here on out to make sure our bodies are healthy for Friday. Like, it's important. Our next game is Friday, and everybody would be ready to go on Friday.
Yeah.
Your rest and recovery routine?
We did, I have the rehab and stuff, but my biggest thing is just laying down. I like to lay down, lay in the bed, just chill. That's my rest.
I know you said you haven't seen Iowa State yet, and you describe when you say Big Ten opponents are very, very physical. I'm just wondering, when you've casually watched the Big 12 in terms of their basketball, like, how would you describe their style of play? Is it different than the Big Ten, or how would you describe Big 12 basketball?
That's a good question.
I know a lot of their teams have good offenses and just a lot of good players. It's just different as far as just, I guess, like how the defense is played, and I feels like the Big Ten may be a little bit slower at times. Like the game speed's a little slower than the Big 12 might be. So that's probably how I would describe it.
All right, guys, great to see you under these circumstances. It's always good to see you. It's always good to see you, but it's really good to see you under these circumstances. So, really excited about this opportunity and this challenge in front of us. I think when you do this, you certainly understand it's not an entitlement. Getting to the NCAA tournament, it's something that is got to be earned, and it's hard. It's hard to earn those, and it's hard to consistently earn those. When you look back at kind of our storied history, you obviously have in different times, but in the '60s, 4 times. One of those obviously being a national championship, our only national championship. The '70s, 1 time. '80s, 5 times. '90s, 4 times. 2000 to 2010, 7 times, and 2011, and counting here, 6 and counting, but never more than 3 years in a row until Coach Mata went, I believe, 7 years in a row from 2009 to 2015. So when you think about how hard it is to consistently a program that has had the number of really good players that we've had and number of really good coaches that we've had, and until that 09-15 stretch, we had never been more than 3 straight years. It's a reality check on how hard this is to consistently get there, and obviously we want to be there as long as we can. We know we've got work to do, but to go here is a real credit, I think, to our players, and I think in so many ways a real credit to Keyshawn, or let me begin with CJ, Keyshawn, Joey Lane, Andre Wesson, those upperclassmen who have kind of steered the ship and allowed us to be here. So those guys deserve a lot of credit, and I bristle when I hear that those guys are constantly getting criticized, but they deserve to enjoy this moment, and when we know we've got some work ahead of us this week. So excited about what's ahead. Obviously, Iowa State, we're digging into them. They're obviously a really good team, having just won the Big 12 tournament pretty convincingly.
You came in with obviously somewhat of expected to be somewhat of a rebuilding year and somewhat of a limited roster, and you've always said that your second year at a program is your most challenging year. Against the backdrop of all of that, what did it feel like for you to see Ohio State pop up and to know that you made it this year?
Really exciting. I got to be honest with you, I was a little nervous after you go through that first bracket. And you see Belmont and Temple get in what is, I guess, the play-in game, because you knew that it probably eliminated 1 or 2 teams. As I told Gene Smith, yesterday I felt we were solidly on the 11 line, maybe even a 10. As each hour passed today and I studied the numbers, I studied myself into absolute paranoia. And I just had to stop. Thank God we had practice, so I could just stop looking at it. And, I had us on the last – well, I was worried. I got I just got too worked up. But it was really rewarding. Our players have earned this. Players win games. We have really good players that have stepped up in important times, and obviously we've had our struggles. We have. There's no doubting that, and we all take responsibility for that. But we've also won some games, and we won some important games. Certainly beginning with our very first one.
What did it take for a roster? You come in the season with certain expectations, maybe. What did it take for this team to prove that it could play at this level and that it could reach the tournament? What did this team have to show, or what did this team have to get from where you were on day one to where you are today?
Well, I do think that we had to play well in the Big Ten tournament. But looking overall, I think we had to have a much different identity than last year's team, and we had to find that identity pretty quickly because of who we opened up with. So I think that was the challenge. It wasn't like, okay, you're going to play your way into figuring out who you are. We had to be pretty good on opening night, or else you're missing out on an opportunity that could prove valuable, and it obviously proved very valuable. But I think it was such a I don't know. I don't know. I do know. We've never coached a team where it's been this number of new faces, and you're trying to figure out with each passing day who we are and who we're becoming, and that's been the challenge. And listen, it's been a challenging year in a lot of ways, but to see your name called is pretty special.
Chris, you tend to pay some attention to the projections and things about your team. When you think back to October, and I don't know if you were collecting them or putting them in the folder or whatever, did you think that they were off base? Did you think that you had an NCAA tournament team all along? How did you think that matched up to the expectation for this team?
I thought we would have to play well. I did. I thought it was, if we played well, I thought it could be very, very close. If we had guys step in the new roles and increased roles, which we've seen with a number of guys who have, Caleb's better, Andre's better, Keyshawn has really helped us. Our freshmen have helped us. Kyle Young stepped up. I thought if we had some of that, we would have a chance. But no, I did not look at the projections and say, how can you when we lost what we lost? And those guys, those four seniors were all very impactful. And beyond their play, one of my biggest concerns was our overall leadership. We weren't perfect in that area by any stretch. But I did not look at them and say those. I knew the league was good and was going to be really good, so I didn't look at 8th, 9th, 10th, or whatever, 7th, and say they don't know what they're talking about. It seemed right.
You touched on the history of the program, and Adam asked you about this kind of being the transitional year, difficult year. For you and the program as a whole to go 2 for 2 now, how significant is that? I know it's anytime you go to the tournament's meaningful, but just to start your career here with 2 bids has got to be pretty meaningful.
Very meaningful. I think it's meaningful to me. I think you just can't explain how happy you are when you see your seniors' faces happy. Keyshawn, the reason he came here was to play in the NCAA tournament. It was the reason, basically. It wasn't me. He basically came here and said, "Hey, I'm putting my faith in you that I can get there and play." And he's played in one before. It was in Dayton, but and then you obviously want that for CJ and Joey, and so I don't know if I can overstate how important it is, and it's so much better than the alternative.
Chris, you knew last year that you were in the tournament, had the watch party here and everything.
We did.
How did those 2 days leading up to the selection last year compare to this year when you didn't know if you were going to be in or not? What's that comparison like between those two
Miserable.
outcomes?
Much better last year. Way better. Slept better. Then it was just, you're looking at kind of 5-12 games, which are really dangerous games, and it proved to be really dangerous for us last year. You're kind of looking at, when it was 4, 5, or 6 last year. This year we thought 10, 11 playing. It's kind of what we thought. But, like I said, I talked myself out of everything in the leading hours. But yeah, I've never really been in this place. The other 4 times, you kind of knew. One year we were an 8 or a 9, but you pretty much know at that point you're going to be in. here I've felt strongly, but you also you read enough stuff and you know you don't know.
You talked about reading some of that stuff. You know, there's so many different
Yeah.
things that factor into a quad one wins, you
Yeah.
know, net ratings, you know, stuff like that. Just how exhausting does that get, just looking at all the different metrics sometimes, especially when you're kind of on that bubble trying to see if you're going to be in?
Yeah, and I didn't start looking at it really until we had talked about it, until really the last probably 2 weeks. And you know, I felt like after the Iowa game, if we got one more win, we were going to be in good shape, because of no bad losses, you know, in non-conference, and your road wins, which are important to the committee. Can you win away from home? So, but it took us a while to get that other win there. So it was dicey there.
Iowa State, don't know if you had a chance last night to flip over and see them play Kansas for the championship in that league, but what off the top of your head do you know about Iowa State, or have you seen or heard? I know you had one of their players here for a visit, I think, Horton Tucker.
Yeah, we did.
Is that it?
He's
Yeah.
terrific. Taylor Horton Tucker's terrific. Transfer for Virginia is really good, really good. I've watched them a little bit because they're on TV a lot. So you have a chance occasionally to watch other leagues, you know. But I've not watched them a ton. I've not studied them. I just know you have to be really good to win your conference tournament in that league. And probably they were my guess is the number one of the 6 seeds. I would guess they very easily could have been a 5 seed. So, you know, we'll need to play really well.
How about Coach Prom? Anything about his background? Have you ever gone against any of his teams or
No, but I know
crossed
Steve.
paths with him?
No, Steve. We spoke at a clinic together, Illinois clinic last year. Steve does a really good job. They've always been very, very hard to guard. Steve is a really good man and a really good coach. Really good coach.
Were you in that room with the rest of the team watching
Yes.
together? What was the mood
I was
of
under
that?
the couch, just ducking. Just tell me good news when we get it. No, I was I was in the room.
What was the mood of that when you guys see the first couple regions go by and you think you're in, but like you said, you talked yourself out of it?
Yeah, I mean it was a tense room, very quiet room, with the exception of Terry Johnson's Crazy Boys. They were playing in a side room. We had like 15 little kids with the door shut in a room playroom right beside us. So apart from them being loud and obnoxious, it was, and they are loud and obnoxious, by the way. They're great kids, but they're loud and obnoxious. It was tense in the room, you know, just because you got 2 more regions, and you kind of know you're in that slot of 11, so you're running out of options. It was, I mean, you could hear a pin drop when the 6, when Iowa State came up, because we knew, hey, is that going to be us?
You've talked about Keyshawn Woods came to Ohio State to get to the tournament, and he said that just before you were here. Was he in your head the last 2 days of, I know that he entrusted me with this, and I hope that he gets this?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think you feel that responsibility as a coach. You do. I mean, you feel it to all of your guys, but obviously players win games. We know how special he was really the last 2 days, but certainly Indiana, and he was off to a great start in the Michigan State game until some things got in the way of that. But you know, he was tremendous.
Just from the way you're talking about it, have you ever been this stressed out over a 48-hour period?
I mean, in general?
No, just with waiting to see if you're going to make a tournament.
No.
Were the other ones this stressful?
No. I mean, what was it, 6 last year? No, 5 last year, 4 the year before at Butler, a 9 and a 6. So at that point, you're in. Now the 9 year, the last 2 weeks were similar, but you know, we didn't lose a really important player for us, and we finished with a couple wins that got us. So no, I've never been in this position, and I don't think guys on the previous staff have been. They've either been way in or way out, or considerably out.
Keyshawn said he just didn't watch basketball after you guys lost. He
Yeah.
went and saw a movie. He did everything but watch basketball. Did you watch the rest of the Big Ten tournament or any other teams, or did you kind
No,
of
I
check
went
out
recruiting. I did watch a little bit of I was just curious how Michigan State would play after us. So I watched a little of that game, and then I watched a little of the game today. But your thoughts are really on other things. But I went recruiting after the game. Saw one of our kids that was in the state championship game. So.
Kind of a follow-up on these guys' questions. They've asked you a lot about what the mood was like before the reveal. But at the point where 11 Ohio State is unveiled, did you break out cupcakes? Did you give a speech? I mean, what was that moment like?
Have you seen the video?
I have not.
Yeah, we check our Twitter feed. It's a pretty cool moment. Yeah, with those guys celebrated, and it was real. It was real. They knew what kind of where we're at and what was at stake. There's a video we put out. I think our guys put it out on Twitter. But it was really cool. It was really cool.
I know that Kyle is okay. Kyle Arns, not
Yes.
Young. But, you know, one of my hobbies is worrying. So if I had watched my brother go through that, I'd still be a little stressed. How was Justin today?
He's good. We told him right after practice. We were in practice, and Scooney and someone else came and told me that his brother had went down. So we obviously waited until the end of practice and just said, hey, he's okay. Looks like x-rays are going to, he's going to be okay. So we did share that with him. Yeah, he was concerned.
So you described the Big Ten as kind of this physical, like, conference and playing every single opponent, the physicality they bring. I'm just wondering, watching casually or just from what you've seen, how you would describe Big 12 basketball, what you see out of those.
Probably similar. The pace is a little bit different, I think. It's a little bit faster paced league, I think. That's my understanding. Iowa State has super versatile team and very versatile pieces. But I think the pace is a little bit faster.
Chris, you seem a little emotional right now. Is this a culmination of excitement? Is this relief? What are you feeling right now as you're setting up at that podium?
Just excitement, really. Excitement, and I don't know if it's relief or not, but just excited about what's next. Excited about preparing our guys for the challenge. That's really how I feel.
Does the stress over the last 2 days make you hungrier, or does it make this process harder?
Does it make this process what?
Harder.
No, I think it probably does make you hungrier because you're grateful that you're in and that you're included, and now, I really did feel like we played some really good minutes of basketball at the Big Ten tournament. So I think there's part of that too is can we carry that over? And obviously it's a week apart, but I felt good about a lot of the moments we played in that. So yeah, I think you're really hungry to see. We know we're playing an outstanding team, and we know it's a beauty of the NCAA tournament. You don't play well, you're going home. But sure, it makes you hungry.
I've now watched your video.
Okay.
And now I want to know what happened after those 22 seconds.
Yeah, we watched a little more. We celebrated. We hugged. We hug after every win. It's a requirement. Our staff has to hug, so we hugged it out. And I just talked to the team for a minute about the schedule. I told them they had tomorrow off. They were pretty happy about that because it's obviously – I don't think I've ever played on Friday and the other 4 times, so it's a little bit unique. But they just hung around, played with the kids, ate a little more food, and I started to talk about travel with David, and then the video staff was back loading Iowa State games on our computer. So it's a little bit different because you have an extra day to prepare, but we'll be spending a lot of time in the office here tonight.
What happens to hug rule violators?
No, you got to. You got to hug it out. You mean if they don't hug?
If they fail to, what is it, like push-ups or?
No. I mean, it's staff. The staff. Yeah, it's kind of a bro hug. We hug it out, and it's part of winning, part of enjoying winning. So.
Who gives the best hug on the team?
It's a good question. I don't know. I'd have to think about that. It's a good question.
So what is next? You mentioned the video guys, but like,
So, we'll go back. Is that what you're asking? Yeah. So we'll go upstairs right now, and there'll be every, basically the last 5 to 8 Iowa State games on the computer, and we'll watch individually, and then we'll watch collectively more tomorrow, and we'll meet. And tomorrow will be a big day to try to put in our game plan, and what that's really tomorrow and part of Tuesday. That's going to be important.
who's sort of like the behind-the-scenes sort of heroes that get everything ready so you guys can start formulating that game plan?
Great question. Kyle Davis is video coordinator. Robbie Rucky, they stayed back. We got pizza for them. All of our managers are here working and have loaded. The beauty is, they researched and kind of guessed. They guessed who we would play. Last year they guessed South Dakota State. Now, a number of teams. They guessed 4 or 5, but South Dakota State was one of them. And I think they had Iowa State and Buffalo and a few other ones in this one. So we've got everything on our computers ready to go right now. So anything else? All right, guys. Thank you.